No one's booking bands for the foreseeable future.
With social platforms like Facebook and Instagram Live, musicians are meeting their fans virtually.
But in the meantime, we are probably going to be listening to Doug's song while social distancing.
Hello and welcome to a Spectrum News special, keeping the music scene alive. I'm your host, Petitt, and in the next 30 minutes, we'll show you how the Texas music industry has been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, how it will overcome the obstacles, and we'll introduce you to those who are helping keep the music scene alive.
And I'm John Salazar. As shelter-in-place orders became a reality around the state, bars and venues had to close their doors. That had an immediate impact on the music industry, but it will rise again because we are Texas, and many already have learned to adjust to the new world we live in.
And John, I know you and I are both musicians, and music has always been an inspiration in my life, especially in times like these. It can spark a memory, provide hope, and even bring the most unlikely people together.
And for those lucky enough to make a living as a full-time musician, right now that's just getting tougher and tougher. Virtually impossible.
Well, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and many people have found ways to navigate through these unprecedented times. What would you say is the state of the music industry right now?
So many aspects of the music industry were already on life support even before the pandemic happened.
The music industry's existence relies on support from more than just its fans. But with venues and bars shutting down, the industry has come to a halt.
When you look at the ability of venues to be able to survive an economic downturn, when you look at the bands that relied on every single gig and every single tip in the tip jar to make it day to day, the moment that's taken away, there's no safety net.
Matt Ott is a founder of Black Fret, a Texas nonprofit dedicated to supporting working musicians. Earlier this year, Ott and his co-founder flew to Seattle to launch a chapter there.
That day, February 29th, was the day that some of the first cases were identified there.
Today, Public Health Chapel in King County is announcing 3 new presumptive positive cases of novel coronavirus, COVID-19, including 1 person who died.
Things changed there so quickly. From the Saturday we arrived to the Monday we left, you could see the difference in the streets. You could see how quickly they reacted.
As the virus spread and eventually made its way to Texas, Ott and his team worked tirelessly, gathering donations to support Texas musicians.
On day 5 of this, raising a bunch of money for ham.
What do you think will be the biggest repercussion for musicians and for the music industry from the coronavirus?
I'm really hopeful that people take a lesson away from this, that the things that we value in life need to be valued, they need to be cherished, and if we don't, we're going to lose them.
Well, after the cancellation of South by Southwest and people being ordered to stay home, musicians have had to find new ways to reach their fans. From live streaming mini concerts to full festival-like shows, the music industry lives on, online. Here's how artists are making it work, ensuring the show goes on. It's not exactly what we're used to, but musicians all around the world have gotten creative over the last few weeks.
Time for a little quarantainment.
COVID-19 has essentially shut down the entertainment business for the foreseeable future, and now musicians across the globe are turning to live-streamed concerts.
Hey y'all, welcome to JVTV, my daytime television show.
While some just want to socialize or spread positivity,
The other 2 are artificial. Yeah, she doesn't really like it when I sing that song about her.
Others are depending on it, using the internet to fend for their livelihood.
A show for your kiddos every day at 10 a.m. And I mean every day.
With social platforms like Facebook and Instagram Live, musicians are meeting their fans virtually, even setting up virtual tip jars. In Austin, after Willie Nelson's Luck reunion concert was canceled, organizers decided the show must go on, hosting a free 5-hour show to raise money for Texas musicians. Music nonprofit Black Fret also put on an impressive show for charity, streaming a free 5-night event from Texas's oldest live music venue, Schultz Beer Garden. The Dallas Artist Relief Fund, Stand With Austin, and In This Together San Antonio are just a few of the citywide efforts responding to the music industry.
There will be an answer, let it be, yeah.
Well, just 1 week after hosting Willie Nelson's live stream show right here in this Austin recording studio, Texas music icon and lead singer of Asleep at the Wheel, Ray Benson, announced he tested positive for the coronavirus. He made the announcement on Facebook, and messages of support have been pouring in.
What do you call a musician without a girlfriend? Homeless.
This was Ray Benson last month, hosting Till Further Notice, a live-streamed concert that raised thousands for those affected by COVID-19.
Ellie is going to be $120,000 so far in the boot.
No one, not even Benson, knew that he, too, had contracted the virus. The 69-year-old made the announcement on social media, saying in part, "Well, folks, the bad news, I've contracted the coronavirus. Been feeling tired for about 10 days. He went to get tested on March 21st, but due to none being available, he went home, but continued to experience symptoms of fatigue and head pain. After returning to the doctor, he tested positive for the coronavirus. Just 2 hours after posting the news on Facebook, Benson's message had nearly 450 comments and nearly 400 shares. Love and support has been pouring in ever since. Benson has been in isolation since receiving the results. He added he's looking forward to getting out on the road and playing music with his band again soon. So are we, Ray, and we wish you a healthy recovery.
Listen to these numbers. In 1 month alone, in March, 1.5 million Texans found themselves without a job. 500,000 of those workers were sent home from restaurants and bars. And those numbers are from the Bureau of Labor of Statistics. Now, here in San Antonio, inside that honky-tonk, I did have a chance to catch up with the co-owner of the Lonesome Rose, and he tells me that COVID-19 gave him a 3-way financial hit.
Meet me tonight at the Lonesome Rose.
Inside the Lonesome Rose,
We can two-step all night long.
where chairs sit idle and no one orders a drink, Garrett T. Capps
Meet me tonight
sings a sad song,
at the Lonesome Rose.
longing for better days.
I think it's surreal. Well, she left.
The San Antonio native's woes go beyond his empty venue.
I hope everyone's taking this really seriously.
Before COVID-19 turned Cap's bar stools upside down, his small venue employed about a dozen workers. This business did contribute to a larger Texas economy. Studies show San Antonio's hospitality industry cranked out a healthy $15.2 billion a year. But this bar's well, and many others across the U.S. have run dry.
Now I'm trying to live on island time.
The honky-tonk's alcohol sales isn't Cap's only revenue loss. Canceled shows is costly too.
No one's booking bands for the foreseeable future. I'm getting requests to book bands in December. That doesn't even make sense to think about.
Closed music venues and canceled or postponed events stripped away yet another source of revenue for the touring musician.
All my South by gigs got canceled. I had a big festival type deal that I was working on with a few other people. My European tour in June is not looking like it's going to be happening. My cross-country tour that was going to start on April 15th has been completely canceled.
With the fast-spreading pathogen not showing signs of slowing down, Capps will have to get used to his new gig, playing to an audience of no one.
Meet me tonight. But in the meantime, we are probably going to be listening to Doug's song while social distancing. Meet me tonight.
Still to come, a Texas musician returns from touring in Europe, only to find out her South by Southwest gig had been canceled along with the festival. And travel restrictions caused a major detour in her journey home, where she then had to self-quarantine. We'll have her story. Plus,
Everything you do after the chores are done is art, you know?
I'll introduce you to a husband and wife who teamed up for a music lesson while making the best of the extra time they have at home. You're watching Keeping the Music Scene Alive, only on Spectrum News.
Texas is the greatest place in America to play and make a living off of music. I'm gonna make that bold statement right there.
That should be on
TV, on television, in front of God and everybody.
Welcome back to a Spectrum News special, Keeping the Music Scene Alive. As we've all seen these past several weeks, when trying times hit, it affects everyone, and it affects all of us in different ways. One of this year's artists on the official South by Southwest lineup would have been Grace Petitt, a solo artist and 1/3 of the band Nobody's Girl. But instead of being on stage, Petitt was self-quarantined, and I asked her about her bittersweet journey home.
I'm here because I'm quarantined for the next 14 days.
This is Grace Petitt. She's speaking to us via FaceTime, but it took a lot of luck to get her home to Texas. So let's rewind. In mid-March, the 32-year-old musician was supposed to be jamming on stage with her all-female trio, Nobody's Girl, as an official South by Southwest artist. But instead, she was in self-quarantine, and the festival canceled. When did you find out that South by Southwest was canceled?
I found that out like a couple days before I flew back home.
But what Grace soon found out while waiting for a flight home from London was that new international travel restrictions were going into effect, causing her to wonder if she would be allowed to return home.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had like moments of freaking out, but I just kind of kept going back to this feeling of gratitude. You know, like when I was posting about it online, I had all these friends that just kind of came to the rescue.
Due to the restrictions, Petitt couldn't fly straight home to Austin, but her luck started to change when she managed to get one of the last seats on one of the last planes to Miami, the closest approved airport to Texas.
The whole time I just sort of had this profound like sense of calm because I knew that I was taken care of and I was really one of the lucky ones, you know?
The flight arrived in Austin safely, but after spending 3 weeks traveling abroad, she met the criteria for a recommended 15 days of self-quarantine.
I think even though we're self-isolating, we can reach out to each other and support each other, and that's just so important right now, maybe more important than it was a week ago.
Eventually, even the unofficial South by Southwest events were called off, so Petitt spent her time in isolation, giving back, supporting other musicians, hosting webcasts and online performances. Although it's not the South by Southwest she imagined, Grace, like many people, is learning what truly matters.
I know we have a tendency like to want to just like hoard toilet paper and just shut ourselves in, but I think, you know, what this has taught me is just how connected we are and how much we need to really support each other. So that's been my takeaway.
Hello, I'm Dolly Parton, the book lady from the Imagination Library, and I'm going to be reading a very special book today. This is called The Little Engine That Could.
And if you're looking for more ways to pass the time, why not have Dolly Parton read you or your little one a bedtime story? The legendary country music singer-songwriter is hosting a new virtual series called Good Night with Dolly. Each week, Dolly reads a book from her Imagination Library program, which mails free books to children. She hopes the series brings comfort and reassurance to coping kids and families.
I even wrote a song about this little book. It goes, whoa, 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 I can do it, so can you. Whoa, 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 I believe in you. And I do, too. Good night.
Dolly's Storytime streams on Facebook every Thursday at 6 p.m. You can also catch them later on the Imagination Library YouTube page.
Much like Dolly, musicians here in the Lone Star State are doing everything they can to stay connected to their fans. I did meet up with one couple who puts work before art, yet they still have time to share a message of encouragement in the COVID-19 era.
I kind of wanted to do it. I wanted to step it up, not just me playing my acoustic guitar, you know. I thought, let me pretend I'm on stage. So I whipped out my old stage lights and dusted them off. And I got my beautiful wife, said, just join me, babe, trust me. You're gonna be badass.
I've introduced you to musician Anthony Garcia before.
Yeah, almost there, almost there.
Garcia used the creative side of his brain
I love this.
to hone his skills as a photographer.
Yeah, that's the face I want, baby.
Now, from the comfort of his home, the San Antonio native teaches his wife Tabitha the art of music.
She's never played an instrument. She's nothing.
No.
Even better, the pair took their improv learning jam sessions online. In the grand scheme of things, this new creative gig for Garcia comes second. In the COVID-19 era, his real job keeps him busier than ever.
UPS.
So before the musician can bust out the guitar and teach his new bandmate notes on the keyboard, the UPS driver with 31 years of delivery experience first must deliver what you need most.
A lot of toilet paper.
When deliveries are done, it's back to the jam room to practice music with the pupil. Are you having fun?
Yes.
And social distance not only with the purpose, but a message of encouragement.
I've been seeing that a lot of people are, already out there and doing things and they have the energy and stuff, and some people don't and they're down and everything, and it's okay. Let yourself reset. It's okay to take your time, but got to figure out something.
For more than a decade, the Health Alliance for Austin Musicians has provided health care for working musicians. During this pandemic, the organization is now needed more than ever. Here's a look at how they're adapting.
It's really uncertain times right now.
Renee Collins knows there's a lot at stake for musicians as the economy shuts down and the workforce is quarantined for the foreseeable future. Collins is the executive director of HAM, the Health Alliance for Austin Musicians.
We are seeing our music community being decimated. I had a musician call me almost in tears that said, everybody's talking about, shelter in place and we're going to have to be in our house for 2 weeks. I don't have enough money to buy food for 2 weeks. I only have enough money to buy food for 2 days.
The first big hit was the South by Southwest cancellation. That one festival can bring in close to 6 months of their annual income. Then a full-on global health crisis caused the nonprofit to pivot, focusing solely on helping musicians survive.
When the virus hits, we're the healthcare organization for our musicians. We are the ones that are there for them, and we're going to be more critical than ever.
As the virus continues to spread, nonprofits like HAM are linking with other organizations to form a unified resource of strength and financial stability for Texas musicians.
I think the next 3 weeks or so is when we're going to really see some big things hit. And that's when it's going to hit hard, more than just loss of income or food concerns or renting concerns, but it's going to be really physical health concerns. How am I going to stay alive?
For Collins and HAM, this is their purpose. Texas needs its musicians just as much as its musicians need Texas.
It's a huge piece of our economic stability, and we want to make sure that we take care of these folks so that when this thing passes, because it will, that they're still here, and that we still have this vibrant music community, and it's part of the heart and soul of who we are.
Now, if you're wanting to know, here's how you and others can help the Texas music scene. Log on to the Texas Music Office at gov.texas.gov/music. There you'll find links to resources and information musicians and industry professionals can use. Plus, here's something I want to do. Get a personalized license plate to support Texas music. Pretty cool, huh? On the same page, you will find a link where you can order that specialty plate, and it's only $30. $22 out of that $30 goes directly to the Texas Music Foundation, which helps fund grants which benefit music-related education and community programs. Now, I had a chance to talk to Brandon Anthony. He's the director of the Texas Music Office. He tells me he and his staff are working day in and day out to help the music industry not only survive, but thrive on the other side.
I think we'll come out of this on the other side, a very strong music industry community, still changed somewhat, yes, but I have no doubt that as creative as our people are, as hardworking as they are, that we'll come out of this just fine.
For all the musicians who call the Alamo City home, there are additional resources available just for you. Now, you're going to have to check out this link to find that information. Go ahead and log on to getcreativesanantonio.com. There you can find those resources to help you or other musicians out. Tara, we'll send it back to you.
Really proud of what has been coming out of San Antonio and out of Texas.
It really makes me proud to be a part of this